So we're here at our first tree, your American beech. But before we get started on that, I want to just go over some real basic things for identification. And that is how your leaves are placed on a twig. There's two basic types of arrangement. The leaves can be alternating down the stem, like this. There's one at each position alternating. Or they can be oppositely arranged. There's a pair of leaves at each position, as in this black haw, which you're going to learn a lot later in the semester. So black haw is opposite and beech is alternate. So every tree we do, the first thing you're going to want to look at on the broadleaf trees is whether they are opposite leaves or they are alternate leaves. If you don't do that, you're just going to stay lost most of the semester. So now let's talk about which trees are opposite and which trees are alternate. The opposite plants that we're going to be covering in this semester are maples, ashes, and dogwoods. And you can remember that by the acronym MAD. M for maple, A for ash, D for dogwood. And then you can add cap to that for the family Caprifoliaceae, which is the black haw family. So MAD cap, which doesn't really mean much of anything, but you won't forget it. Mad cap, and then remember horse, and that's the horse chestnut family. So the whole phrase is mad, cap, horse. M maple, A ash, D dogwood, cap for Caprifoliaceae, and horse for the horse chestnuts. Those are all the opposite plants that we're going to be covering. There's a few other oddballs, but that's most of them. And then everything else is alternate, okay? So let's now start and get specific with American beech. So American beech is a native tree, very, very common in your labs and throughout the eastern North America. We already talked about how it is alternately arranged. Okay, so you can see the leaves are alternating down the stem. Another feature you got to pay attention to, and we'll have examples of this through the whole lab, is it a simple or a compound leaf? Now, beech has a simple leaf, which means one leaf blade with a leaf stem called a petiole attaching directly to the twig. You can tell where the leaf ends by looking for a bud. So where I plucked that off, we have a bud there. That tells you everything above that is the leaf. We're also going to have a compound leaf, which has many little leaflets making up one leaf, and we'll say more about that when we get to a tree with a compound leaf. So beech has a simple leaf. It's basically tear-shaped, or what we call ovate. Its margin has coarse teeth, that's called serrated, and it's extremely glossy like wax paper, very, very glossy to touch. So to identify beech, you walk up to a tree, you see that it's alternate, yes, so it's not a maple ash or a dogwood, it's something else. It's a simple leaf with teeth, very, very glossy, and you're narrowing it down to beech. Beech is also going to have a very big bud. It's going to grow to be up to an inch long. They look like thorns. So when you have a very long thorn-like, some people describe it as cigar-shaped bud, alternating, you got a beech tree. Now, bark can be helpful sometimes or not helpful, but in this case, it's very helpful. Most trees, the bark's going to start out smooth, and then it's going to turn into something very diverse. It might have ridges, furrows, shaggy, scaly. Beech is unique in that it's smooth when it's young, and no matter how large it gets, it stays smooth. So if we're looking at a 2-foot diameter tree and it has smooth gray bark, almost looks like concrete smoothed out, it's pretty much going to be narrowed down to a beech tree. Fruits. You got an interesting fruit too. Now, me looking for fruit there, that's also an interesting part of tree ID. Fruits can be very helpful, but they can really let you down. Some years there's a lot of fruit, and then the next year there isn't any fruit. And so if you identify the tree by the fruit, like beech, you say, oh, it has this very burry husk. It is very unique, and then there's an edible nut inside. shaped like a little pyramid or a triangle. That's really unique. You'll know that's a beech. But then next year, this tree may have no fruit, or the tree is young. Or we may walk across campus to another tree. This one has fruit. That tree may not have fruit. So it's a good thing to learn, but you know, sometimes it'll let you down. If a tree doesn't have leaves, well, it's dead. All right, so you learn the leaves, they're always, and buds, they're going to be features that are on the tree all the time. Beech is a large tree. This one here is not that big, but it becomes very big in the eastern forest, and most common here in southwest Virginia in more cool, moist cove locations. As you go further north in the eastern U.S., you start finding it in more and more locations because it's colder climate up there. Down here, we tend to have it in our cool, moist locations. But it's very common. You're certainly going to see it in many of your other labs.